everybody, and welcome back to the Waxwing Beginner Guitar Series. I am Elliot, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to play C major scales in 3 different positions. In this video we're just going to be handling a few of the basics, so we're not going to be going too deep into music theory around major scales, so this will be largely a practical video. So most of our 7-note scales or heptatonic scales, like the major scale or the minor scale, are built up off of 2 different types of steps, we call them. So it can be a whole step, which is where we start on any note and we go 2 frets higher. So 1, 2, and we go 2 frets higher. So there's a note in between, like from here, C to D, okay? So that whole step can also be called a tone or a whole tone. A half step is where we go from any note like this note C, and we go just 1 fret higher to this D flat or C sharp note. So our 7-note scales or heptatonic scales, like the major or minor scale, will be built off of a series of these different types of steps. Either a whole tone or whole step, or a semitone or half step. So starting on this note C, this is the 3rd fret on the 5th string using our 3rd finger here. We're going to be starting on the note C. So for our major scale, we want a whole tone, followed by a whole tone, followed by a half tone, followed by a whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, and a half tone, right? But it's not that practical to play on one string, so we're going to be playing it in the open position. The open position meaning that we are utilizing the open strings where it's necessary, and our first finger will be responsible for our 1st fret, 2nd finger for 2nd fret, 3rd finger for 3rd fret, and 4th finger for 4th fret. So this open position C major scale looks like this. Going back down. So the notes in the scale are simply the natural notes from the musical alphabet. So we have A to G in our musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it loops back around to A once again. So in the C major scale, we are utilizing just the natural notes, meaning no sharps or flats. Our accidentals or the sharps or flats will find their way in between some of these notes, right? If we have A to B here, B flat is going to be 1 fret lower. This note will also be A sharp. They have 2 names contextually. So this note C, 1 fret higher, will be C sharp. But in the key of C major or A natural minor, we are only using the natural notes. And for C major, we're starting on the note C. This will be known as the root note. It's the note that we are beginning and ending on, and we are thinking of being the centerpiece of this key or this scale. So when we were first learning these scales, I like to have my students say the note names out loud so that we were getting to know where the notes are on the fretboard as well, which is very important for beginner guitar players to know, as well as advanced guitar players. And we can also give these notes numbers or scale degrees as a reference point within their particular key. So when we are playing through the scale, we can say C1, D2, E3, and so on, right? So let's do that together. So you can follow along on the scale chart beside me. Here we have C1, D2, which is the open 4th string, E on the 2nd fret on the 4th string, 3, F, 3rd fret on the 4th string, which is 4, G, which is the open 3rd string, or 5. Then we have A, which is the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. This is 6. Then we have the open B string, which is 7 in the scale. Then we have our 1st finger on the 1st fret on the 2nd string. This note is C, or 1 once again, also known as 8 sometimes. Playing through that again, we have C1, D2, E3, F4, G5, A6, B7, and C1 or 8. We can play that in reverse. It's also useful to say the notes out loud as you're playing it in reverse as well. So when we are playing through the scales, we can focus on our technique as well. We want to be alternate picking. Okay, so every time we play down, we want to play up on the next note. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. We also want to focus on our fingers placement on the frets. With each finger, we want to be on the tip of the finger, not on the pad of the finger. Okay, the pad of the finger is right here, the tip of the finger is right here. And we want to place our fingers right close to the fret as we can get. We don't want to be right on top. We don't want to be far back here. We get lots of buzzing sounds. We want to be right behind the fret. Okay? And we want to be right on the tip so that if we played the next string below it, the string would ring through and we wouldn't get this muting sound. Okay, so we want to practice that as we're playing the scale. We can go through it very slowly, and each time that we sit down, we should be playing through our C major scale, or any of our scales for that matter that we're working on, 3 to 5 times, and going as slow as we need to get all the notes correct and be playing in time. We can even play with a metronome to make sure that we are playing in time. So from here, I'm going to show you how to play the C major scale in the second position in what I like to call a micro 1 octave scale box. So 1 octave means that we're just playing from C to C, or in any other context, G to G, or what have you. So in this case, we're starting right here on the same note that we started on our open position C major scale, except we're going to be starting with our second finger this time rather than a third finger. So here we have C, 1, and D, that used to be the open string down here, is going to be played with our pinky finger on the 5th fret on the 5th string. Okay, so we have C, 1, D, 2, and we have E, 3 on the 2nd fret on the 4th string, and we have F, 4 on the 3rd fret on the 4th string, then we have G, 5, then we have A, 6, then we have B, 7, and C is now on the 5th fret on the 3rd string as 1. Notice how all the open strings in the open position are now fretted on the 5th fret on the string below it, or in case of the open B string, on the 4th fret on the 3rd string. So that scale once again will look like this. So that fingering pattern we have on that scale chart that is right next to me is a movable shape. Okay, what I mean by this is that since there are no open strings, and this is following the pattern of a major scale, whole tones and half tones in a specific formula, then we can move this around onto different notes and we can get a major scale starting on a different note. So we can start this on G and play the exact same fingering pattern, and we can be playing a major scale off of G. So this will be a G major scale. So we are now in the key of G. Except we are not using all the same notes that we were using in C, because if we start our formula on a different note, we're going to be getting a different combination of notes. So if we start on G, we now have an F sharp included in our scale. There will be more on this in a future video to do with scales, keys, and the circle of fifths. However, if we take that exact same fingering pattern from the second position and we apply it to a different C note, because there are multiple ways to play C on our fretboard, like this one down here on the 8th fret on the 6th string, if we played that exact same fingering pattern starting here, we get a C major scale in the 7th position now. So going up here, we're going to be starting on the 8th fret on the 6th string on the C note. And we'll notice that the fingering pattern is the exact same as we did in the second position. Okay, just starting off of the 6th string. Because most of the guitar strings are tuned in a perfect 4th interval, meaning that they're 4 notes away. So we have E, F, G, A is the next string. So E to A is 4 notes away. A to D is 4 notes away. D to G is 4 notes away. But then G to B is only 3 notes away. It's a major 3rd interval. The pattern won't quite work the exact same way if we're including the B string. However, on these bottom 4 strings, we can play the same pattern and it'll work out okay. So here we have C, 1, D, 2, E, 3, F, 4, G, 5, A, 6, B, 7, and C, 1 once again. So that is how to play the C major scale in the open position and in 2 closed positions with micro 1 octave scale boxes. Now, as long as we know where our root note is, in this case C, and we know this fingering pattern, and the root is going to be off of the 5th string or the 6th string, then this fingering pattern will apply. So with these 3 scale patterns, we want to be practicing these about 3 to 5 times each time that we sit down to play, and we should be playing a little bit every day, and we should be focusing on our technique. Okay, if we make a mistake, we should go back to the beginning and start again and try to have up to 5 times repeated in a row with 0 mistakes. In the next video, I'll show you 2 more positions that we can use these microscale boxes in, but I'm going to leave it there for now. If you want to know more about major scales and scale theory, there will be plenty more videos on this in the future. This is just simply a practical video on how to play the C major scale in these 3 different positions. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you would like to learn from me directly as a private teacher, you can visit my website at waxwingmusicstudio.com or shoot me an email at wax.wing.musicstudio@gmail.com for further info. So keep your eyes open for further beginner to advanced music theory videos and applied music theory, and also stay up to date on some of my mega courses which should be coming out later this year, which will be paid courses, like my creative improvisation course and compositional courses as well. So more on that in future videos, and thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.